very welcome back to the show. The Medal of Honor is the highest award which can be received by a member of the US Armed Forces. More than 3,500 have been bestowed, and of these, the majority were awarded to people of Irish heritage.
The medal you see here is the first to ever be exhibited outside of the United States. We have Declan Hughes here to tell us all. Declan, you're very, very welcome to the show. This medal is very, very old. It goes back to the 1860s.
It's 1898. It was awarded to an Irishman from County Mayo during the Spanish-American War of 1898. And in fact, in the boat alongside Michael Gibbons, who was awarded this medal, was a second Mayo man from Belmullet called Philip Gahan, and they both were awarded the Medal of Honor. And we've actually tracked down Philip Gahan's medal in America, and we're hoping at some stage this year to reunite the two of them after 120 years.
That's amazing.
In Kinsale.
This is the only medal now that's outside the US?
The only genuine medal on display outside the United States.
Which is quite amazing. Yeah. Why did they get this medal specifically, or do we know?
For valour, for courage. Funnily enough, just in the last few weeks, there was a ship named for a man from Mayo, again, named Patrick Gallagher during Vietnam. This is from the USS Nashville of 1898. And we wonder if in that photograph is Michael Gibbons and Philip Gahan looking at us back through the years. But there's a Mayo man named Patrick Gallagher who should have been awarded the Medal of Honor for actions in Vietnam because he cheated 4 grenades and he jumped on the 4th grenade to save his buddies.
Oh my goodness.
When he took it out and threw it away, it exploded on impact, so it was a live grenade, and he should have received the Medal of Honor for that. But they're actually naming a ship for him, the USS Patrick Gallagher, which will be on stream in the next 2 or 3 years.
What else do we know about Michael Gibbons?
There's not that much we do know about him. He emigrated to America, he joined the Navy, he became an oiler on the USS Nashville. The mission that he was sent on was deemed at the time to be a kind of a suicide mission because they had to go into Cuba, row in longboats, as you saw, get very close to the shore and drag up communication cables under fire from the Spanish who owned Cuba at the time, and hack through these cables for several hours. And several people were wounded. I think
they were
2
thrown
were killed.
to it, really, weren't they? A lot of these men that got these type of medals were the front men who were just thrown into the line of fire.
Yeah, they were acting on impulse, I suppose.
On orders, I'm sure.
Well, you don't get ordered to jump on a grenade.
No, of course not. But what I'm saying is like something like Cuba and that type of, operation.
An army goes where it's ordered to.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, very much
when you think about it, really, it must have been, because if you think of these type of people, and so many Irish, out of all these medals that were awarded, something like 2,000 and something medals were to people of Irish heritage. I'm sure a lot of these people came post-famine to the States.
They would have done.
Yeah, and fought on both sides of the Civil War.
On the Civil War, both sides, and in fact, the authority on that is a Cork man named Damien Shields, who actually curated this museum space for us. They fought on both sides, and they fought on both sides courageously and, in most cases, honourably.
Because, Declan, we were chatting before we came on there as well. When a lot of men left Ireland because the British were here, they went over to America then to fight in the American army against Native Americans, which was total hypocrisy. Do you cover that in the museum? It
was, and again, the maxim only following orders comes in. There were soldiers, they had to do what they had to do. We do cover it at the exhibition, and we don't shy away from it. There were Irish men involved in some of the worst massacres of the Native Americans. And of course, the Native Americans got their own back at Little Bighorn, where there was hundreds of Irish born fighting with Custer and dying with Custer.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of being there years ago. And Comanche was an Irish horse. That was the last, I suppose, the last thing standing at the end of the battle.
Miles Keogh's horse.
That's right, yes. Yeah. But the Irish connection there is absolutely huge altogether.
It is,
as well, isn't it?
It is.
Actually, we forget, but the reality is when a lot of people fought and went to fight for armies, they were doing a job as well. They needed money. They needed to take care of their families.
They needed to take care of their families.
That history is there, and that's very important.
3 square meals and a few dollars.
Where else were they going to go? And that was literally what they were getting paid in those days, wasn't it?
Well, my background is human rights, ironically enough, but I got involved in talking and researching a lot of the Irish who died in the Vietnam War. And I know a man from Longford who went and he joined the US military, because there was nothing in Longford back in the 1940s, 1950s.
Yeah.
He went to join the Airborne Corps because it was a few dollars more for jumping out of a plane. And he needed the money.
But that's what people needed the money. You've got an amazing ring in your pocket talking about Vietnam.
Well, this is the genesis of Irish veterans. This was allegedly cut from the finger of a dead GI after a battle in Vietnam.
Oh my goodness.
And I got it through a very good friend of mine, the late Sarah Kenny. Myself and Sarah worked with the Vietnamese community in Dublin in the 90s. And when Sarah went to Vietnam in 1997, the end of 97, early 98, she was given this ring at a dinner, and she was asked to take it out of the country and find the family of the original owner. And she was horrified because it had been cut from the finger of a dead GI.
Yeah.
And when she came back to Dublin, she gave it to me and said, "You do it. You find the family of the original owner." And so I still have the ring.
I know, but it'd be a very difficult thing to do.
It's very difficult. The only way we can really work that out now is to actually bring it to Minnesota, to the firm that allegedly made the ring, and ask, is it recycled gunmetal or is it the real thing?
Wow.
If we can jump forward to 2005 and Michael P. Murphy, another Irishman. Tell us about this guy.
Michael Murphy. Michael Murphy's mother came from Fermoy, and his father came from Cork. And Michael joined up shortly after 9/11 and went to Afghanistan on a highly important mission with his SEAL team. He was a US Navy SEAL, and he was killed in Afghanistan trying to save the lives of his team. And
such a young man, my goodness.
He was, and we had his parents over 3 years ago. That'd be Michael here on the right.
That's his unit as well.
That's his unit.
Yeah. And you know, it's such an elite unit.
It is. It's an absolutely. It's the equivalent of the Irish Rangers, or the Irish Rangers the equivalent of them. The red tab there is a patch that he wore from the fire department of New York. And when Michael was killed in Afghanistan, his buddies who came to collect his body cut the patch off and brought it back to New York and gave it to the fire department there, Ladder 43, and they have it as a memorial to Michael and his crew.
So a lot of these medals would be obviously given to people after their death, unfortunately.
Sadly, most medals of honour are awarded now posthumously, and as would have been the case with Patrick Gallagher, it would have been given to him when he was alive.
Yeah. But back to Michael as well, this is very interesting because this inspired, this mission in Afghanistan inspired the movie
Lone Survivor. And Marcus Luttrell, the man who survived, wrote the book, and then they made the movie out of it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's very interesting. So we can see all this in Kinsale.
Fascinating.
In Kinsale, yes. Hopefully for the rest of the year.
Wonderful.
We're still looking for sponsorship to keep the museum open, but if anyone wants to support it, by all means get in touch with us.
The only one outside the United States.
It's the only one.
Go and see
it's
it.
a genuine article.
It's the genuine article.
Yeah, and you're looking for stories to irishveterans.org as well. You can check that out. But you're looking for stories behind medals.
There must be a lot of these around because 258 Irish-born received the Medal of Honour. So somewhere in 258 families, there are 258 Medals of Honour.
Amazing.
And we would love to see them and hear the stories.
Do get in touch. Get in touch with us and we'll pass it on as well. And it's irishveterans.org.
irishveterans.org. Yes.
Thank you, Declan.
Pleasure.